10 thoughts on the Bears' 5-11 season and what's next at Halas Hall. 10 thoughts after the Chicago Bears closed out the 2017 season in what was likely the final game for coach John Fox with a 23-10 loss Sunday to the NFC North champion Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium. 1. My expectation is the Bears will announce that coach John Fox has been relieved of his duties with 1 year remaining on his contract Monday morning. My hunch is Fox will be given an opportunity to meet with his players, and from there things will be in motion at Halas Hall. Players will be making their way out and into the off-season, and I fully expect General Manager Ryan Pace and perhaps Chairman of the Board George McCaskey to hold a media session at some point during the day. Some have wondered out loud if this will be pushed back a day or two because of the holiday, and I say no way. Pace needs to move on with business, the most important business he's had since being hired 3 years ago, and that's to run a coaching search to identify the 16th coach in franchise history. Yes, this is assuming Pace retains his job, but all signs I've picked up so far point in that very direction. Pace needs to take his turn in front of the cameras and microphones, something that Fox has done 5 times per week all season long. He's got to share his vision for the future and at the same time explain his part in the organization's 14-34 record over the past 3 seasons. What's gone right? What's gone wrong? What needs to be fixed and in what order? You would expect a key talking point for Pace to be the experience young players have received this season, and there's definite truth to that. The Bears also played a lot of young players in 2016 and perhaps more than you would think in 2015. They don't have the results to show for it yet. He will, no doubt, hit on the invaluable experience that quarterback Mitch Trubisky gained as a rookie and highlight the rest of the draft class with running back Tariq Cohen and free safety Eddie Jackson making some contributions, with faith in tight end Adam Shaheen moving ahead to next season. I think Pace has to take some ownership for the health issues that have plagued the roster. The Bears can't dump that all on Fox's plate, and, at the minimum, I would expect changes in the strength and conditioning staff in 2018. A lot of people have submitted for changes to the training staff, and that could be on the table too, but the first issue the Bears have to determine is why the players are getting injured. The trainers get them when they're injured, and the Bears have had too many players injured. Although Pace doesn't hold a lot of media sessions, he usually does pretty well. This is going to be a challenging one for him, and I'm curious to see how he performs. If he does well, he's got the chance to maybe win over some of the fans that are on the fence about the job he has done and have been advocating for more sweeping changes at Halas Hall. He's got to be real, he's got to be decisive, and he's got to spell out a plan that sounds not only achievable but daring as well. He's got to be humble, and he's got to clearly spell out some of the improvements that are going to be made. Broad generalizations that sound great but are thin on detail, those don't work as well. Pace has a lot of work ahead in the coming weeks, work that can shift the fortunes of the franchise, as the Bears are now tied for the 3rd longest playoff drought in the NFL after the Bills broke their 17-year drought. Buffalo wasn't the only club to get off the schneid. The Rams, Jaguars and Titans all ended significant postseason droughts. Those 4 teams, the Bills included, accounted for 4 of the league's 6 longest playoff droughts entering the season. The Browns haven't been to the playoffs since 2002, and it's been 2007 since the Buccaneers reached the postseason. Next up are the Bears and Jets in 2010. Let's hear what Pace has to say. 2. Probably the most popular question I've gotten on social media and my weekly mailbag in the last 2 weeks has been about defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Is there a chance Fangio could be hired as head coach? Is there a scenario in which Fangio, who is coming out of contract, could remain in his current role and agree to work for a new head coach? Let me just say, I think Fangio would be ecstatic at the opportunity to become a head coach, and it would not surprise me if Pace interviews him for the position. I also would not be surprised if Fangio gets at least one head coaching interview elsewhere. I believe the Bears' preference is to hire a head coach with an offensive background, but they would be foolish to not consider coaches from all backgrounds, and Fangio has done excellent work on defense with a roster that is still in need of more playmakers, and improved health. Fangio needs to have a plan on offense and would likely need to convince Pace that he can bring a talented and impressive offensive coordinator into Halas Hall to completely revamp that side of the ball. One source suggested to me that Fangio might be able to get paired up with Rams offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur, who might just be allowed to leave Los Angeles by coach Sean McVay provided it is for a coordinator position that includes play-calling responsibilities. Obviously, McVay is the one calling the plays for the Rams right now. In that scenario, perhaps Fangio has a shot and you maintain stability on that side of the ball. In the event the Bears hire an offensive-minded head coach, I think the chances of retaining Fangio are reduced, but I wouldn't rule it out. He's believed to be the second highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL right now, probably behind only Wade Phillips of the Rams, and if the Bears bucked up in a big way, who knows, maybe they could get Fangio to stay. He'd certainly pair better with a head coach with an offensive background, as that kind of the relationship would offer him more autonomy on defense. A dream scenario has to be luring Jim Harbaugh away from the University of Michigan and having him and Fangio get the old band back together.